Pray for my safe return, Ali. I am worried." These heart-wrenching words are testament to why women's rights is still the biggest issue in some parts of the world. Samia Shahid was born on November 15, 1987, in Bradford, West Yorkshire, UK. Bradford is the 6th largest city in England and has a diverse population, including many from the South Asian community. The Shahid family, originally from Pakistan, also lived there. Her parents, Chaudhry Muhammad and Imtiaz, moved from a small village called Pandari in Pakistan to the UK, hoping for better opportunities for their family. Growing up in the English city of Bradford, Samia Shahid was a typical high-spirited girl. She enjoyed fashion and fast cars, and was popular, funny and headstrong. Her family fully supported her endeavours, especially her father Muhammad. There was no question that Samia was a daddy's girl. The Shahid family was well known around Bradford. Samia's parents ran a limousine and car service business. One of her uncles owned a fish and chip shop, and another the local florist. The Shahid family tree also extended to their ancestral home of Pandori, a small village in the Punjab region of Pakistan. Samia and her younger sister, Madiha, were given latitude to enjoy their Western upbringing, though only up to a point. The Shahids remained true to their Sunni Muslim faith and Pakistani heritage. In 2012, as Samia reached her mid-20s, her parents felt it was time for her to settle down and marry. Although arranged marriages weren't required by the Sunni faith, they were encouraged, if not expected, through Pakistani tradition. Samia wanted to make her family happy and was open to the idea. Muhammad chose a man named Chaudhry Shakil to be his daughter's husband, but Samia was less than enthused. Shakil lived in Pandori and had just been released from prison for a non-fatal shooting of another man over a land dispute. He was also Samia's first cousin. Marriages between first cousins in the British Pakistani community weren't uncommon. Samia's parents were first cousins and had an enduring and loving marriage. They just wanted what they thought was best for their daughter. Samia put on a happy face around her family and appeared willing to give her upcoming marriage her best shot. Plans were made for her to travel to Pakistan for the wedding, though when speaking with her friends, Samia was plagued with concerns. She sought to live a happy life, but couldn't see this happening with Shakil. In the weeks leading up to her departure, Samia sent multiple messages to her friends expressing her growing despair. In one, she wrote, "I'm dying, I swear, my life is a joke." Samia arrived in Pakistan in mid-February 2012. Determined not to upset her family, she threw herself into the task of planning her wedding. She bought her outfit and jewellery from the Pakistani bazaar and fine-tuned every detail of the event. Her father paid for everything she needed. In a 4-day ceremony in front of hundreds of guests, Samia married Shakil. As a wedding gift to his new son-in-law, Samia's father gave Shakil the house next door to the Shahid family home in Pandori. After the wedding, Samia and Shakil moved in. 4 months later, in June, Samia returned to Bradford without her new husband. Shakil intended to migrate to the UK, so Samia assisted with his application for a spousal visa. Their marriage ceremony, known as a nikah under Islam, was in accordance with Pakistan's Sharia law. It therefore qualified as a legally recognised marriage under British law. However, Samia's friends noted that she was a shell of her former self. Although Shakil was nearly 4,000 miles away, Samia felt like she was under his constant surveillance. He insisted that they video call and remain in contact every day. Samia felt trapped and soon fell into depression. Within a matter of weeks, she told her friends that she wanted to die. With her husband's visa application still being processed, Samia returned to Pakistan in December. She continued living with Shakil, but her feelings towards him didn't change. 6 months later, Samia flew back to England. It wasn't long before her friends began to notice a positive change. Samia seemed more like her former self. She was once again talkative, sociable, and cheerful. She soon revealed her reason for this. In October, Samia was out to dinner in London with a group of friends when she met a man named Syed Mukhtar Kazmi, known as Ali. Ali had only been visiting London for a short time. He was also a dual British and Pakistani national but lived and worked in Dubai. Ali and Samia remained in contact and formed a close platonic friendship, opening up about all aspects of their lives, including Samia's unwanted marriage. Ali and Samia's feelings for one another developed into a romance, and by 2014 they were in love. Around the same time, Samia's husband's UK visa application was rejected. Consequently, Samia knew that her family would expect her to spend much more of her time in Pakistan. She didn't want this life for herself. Hoping that Shakil would accept the futility of their marriage, Samia asked him for a divorce. He refused. Samia turned to the protection of Islam. Under Sharia law, a marriage is valid only if both parties give their free consent. This must come without any physical, psychological, financial, or emotional pressure. Otherwise, the marriage can be considered to be forced and declared void. Samia visited a Bradford mosque and spoke with the prayer leader, also referred to as the Imam. She revealed that she'd been pressured into marriage by her family. The Imam contacted Shakil for his side of the story, but he never responded. As a result, Samia's marriage to Shakil was declared void. She kept this news from her family and discreetly began planning a future with Ali. A little over 4 months later, the pair wed themselves at the home of the Bradford-based Imam who voided Samia's previous marriage. Samia was happy, smiling and singing throughout the ceremony. 17 days later, the newlywed couple completed the British legal formalities by signing the marriage register. Ali soon had to travel back to his home in Dubai for work. Samia had to wait for her spousal visa application to be approved before she could join him. In the meantime, she remained in Bradford with her family, whom she believed were unaware of what she'd done. Just over a month after her marriage to Ali, Samia was walking through town one night when a man approached. He wielded a metal bar which he smashed across Samia's legs. By the time Samia was taken to the hospital, large red and purple bruises had formed across her thighs. She understood that the secret about her marriage to Ali was out. The attack on her was an act of retribution. At the same time, the Imam who officiated Samia and Ali's wedding was warned that there would be consequences for his involvement. The threats had arisen from the Shahid family in Bradford. Over the coming months, they ostracised Samia further, with her mother throwing out all of her belongings. Her family also began threatening Ali, demanding he cut ties with Samia. The police were informed and acted accordingly, but the animosity between Samia and her family continued to grow. She became more frightened for her safety. In 2015, 8 months after her wedding to Ali, Samia received her spousal visa. She fled to Dubai the very next day. Samia's happiness was evident in photos and updates she sent back to her friends in the UK. Yet, the absence of her family weighed heavily on Samia. She reached out to her family nearly every day asking for forgiveness. While Samia's mother and sister sometimes responded to her messages, her father ignored her completely. His silence hurt Samia profoundly. When Ali tried to appeal to Mohammed Shahid, he just demanded that Ali end the marriage to his daughter. Ali refused. Samia and Ali wanted to have children. With this in mind, Samia returned to Bradford to extend the olive branch to her family. Her mother collected her from the airport and brought her home to see her father and sister. Samia kissed her dad and begged him for forgiveness. Everyone was in tears, and for a fleeting moment, Samia hoped that she would be welcomed back. However, the Pakistani traditions of family reputation and respect were deeply upheld by Mohammed Shahid and his extended family. In their eyes, Samia had brought great shame on the family by marrying Ali. Not only was he from outside the family, he wasn't even a member of the same faith. Samia's family was Sunni Muslim, whereas Ali and his family were Shia Muslim. Sunni and Shia are two branches of Islam, and Sunni Shia Muslims don't welcome a Shia-Sunni couple marriage. In another perceived slight to her family, Samia had converted to the Shia Muslim faith prior to marrying Ali. Mohammed Shahid outright rejected his daughter. In a voice message left for Ali, Samia said, "The parents that I cried for while I was away are mine no more. My kids will never see them, never hear them. I'm broken. That's it. My only pride is you and you alone." Samia returned to Dubai devastated. 10 months later, in June 2016, 28-year-old Samia was informed that her ex-husband's mother had passed away. As well as being Samia's former mother-in-law, she was also her aunt. The pair had been markedly close during Samia's time in Pakistan. Samia desperately wanted to attend the funeral service in Pandori. Her parents and sister would also be there, granting her the opportunity to see them for the first time in almost a year. However, the trip was fraught with risk. Threats and attacks made against Samia in the UK for her alleged blasphemy had been restrained by prevailing Western customs and British law. It was different in Pakistan. When a person brings shame upon their family, millennia-old Pakistani tradition dictates that honour can be restored by male family members murdering that person. In a society where some value the dominance of men and the modesty and subservience of women, the majority of honour-killing victims are female. The murders are often ruled as crimes of passion, with the perpetrators facing minimal, if any, consequences. To the people of Pandori, Samia was the daughter who brought her family great shame. The extended Shahid family had already disowned her. Samia's closest friends were shocked that she would consider returning, but Samia remained resolute. Ali was supportive of his wife visiting her family, but was also aware of the significant dangers she faced. He offered to accompany Samia to Pakistan, but she insisted on going alone. Despite the uncharacteristic tension between them, Samia's mother and sister encouraged her to return. Her sister Madiha even sent her a series of text messages reading, "I am worried about you, just come, it will be good for you." Before leaving for Pakistan, Samia sent a message to Ali, expressing her fears, "Pray that I return alive." Ali was deeply worried and advised her to be cautious, but Samia's love for her father and her hope for reconciliation led her to make this decision. On July 14th, Samia departed for Pakistan, arriving in Lahore the next morning. She travelled 90 miles to the village of Pandori, where she reunited with her extended family. Ali heard from his wife later that day. Her mood was upbeat and she seemed genuinely pleased to be back. Samia told her husband that her family had accepted her with open arms, and she'd never been so happy. Ali was relieved. He continued to keep in contact with Samia every day. Each time, she told him how much she was enjoying herself and assured him that everything was going well. Ali later recalled there was no sign of depression or anything. It was quite the opposite. It was as if a child was with her family and had been treated well. 3 days later, Samia decided to pay a visit to her first husband, Shakil. His father and her aunt's funeral was still 3 days away. Afterward, she called Ali and told him that she was on her way to visit her father's house, where she was staying. Although she sounded fine, Samia told Ali that her phone battery was running low. She would charge it when she returned, and they'd talk later. Ali didn't hear from Samia again that day. When he called her phone, it went straight to voicemail. Assuming that Samia was busy, he tried again later, but she still didn't answer. As Ali's worry began to build, he received a Facebook message from a stranger. They wrote that they had overheard some villagers talking about Samia. They said that she'd been taken to a hospital in serious condition. Ali was alarmed and tried calling the family home, but nobody answered. He then attempted to contact Samia's mother, sister, and father. Still, no one answered. Ali contacted Shakil, who also didn't answer. In his final attempt, Ali called the local police in Pakistan. By then, it was 3 a.m. The police officer took down Ali's details and promised to get back to him. 4 hours later, he received a call from his father-in-law. Hamid Shahid calmly told Ali, "Your wife has passed away. She had a heart attack." Ali was shocked. He recalled, "At first I thought it was a dream. I just couldn't believe it." Ali then received a call from the Pakistani police who confirmed that Samia was dead and her body had been taken to a hospital in Mangla, a nearby city in Punjab. Ali could no longer be certain that his wife had died of natural causes. Despite his grief, he knew he had to act quickly if Samia's death was to be fully investigated. Ali contacted the British High Commission in Pakistan and requested that an autopsy be performed on Samia's body. However, Ali was advised that the process was likely to be long and complicated. Without physical evidence of a crime, his suspicions would be unlikely to lead to a legal intervention. It seemed impossible, given that Samia's body had already been buried. He was advised to travel to Pandori to file a police complaint in person. In Dubai, Ali met with an official at the Pakistani consulate. He explained that his wife had travelled to Pakistan to visit her family. Now that she was dead, he suspected that she may have been killed. The official was concerned, but told Ali that this was a police matter. This made it clear to Ali that he had no other choice than to travel to Pakistan himself. Before leaving Dubai, Ali visited the main police station and gave a written statement that Samia's death should be treated as suspicious. He then travelled to Lahore, where he requested a meeting with the regional chief of police. Ali wasn't able to meet with him in person, but His assistant assured Ali that his complaint would be investigated. Ali then travelled to Mangla. While en route, he received a Facebook message from his sister-in-law, Madiha. She wrote that she wanted to give him some vital information, but needed to meet him face to face. Ali told her where he was heading, and Madiha promised to meet him there. Upon arriving in Mangla, Ali visited the police station. The officers there were courteous and offered to drive him to the hospital, where Samia's body was taken. Madiha arrived soon after. She didn't say anything to Ali about their earlier conversation and was accompanied by another man. Madiha assured Ali that Samia had died from natural causes and that nobody in her family would harm her. The police officers stayed silent, as did the doctors. Ali's suspicions continued to grow. As Ali returned to Mangla, the police contacted him again. They said they would be arresting Madiha for the suspected murder of her sister Samia. Ali had his doubts but nonetheless provided a statement to support her arrest. Madiha was taken into custody for questioning, but she was later released. Despite this, her arrest was noted in the police report. When Ali returned to Dubai, he learned more details about the days leading up to Samia's death. He also discovered that under Islamic law, a husband's permission is required to perform an autopsy on his wife's body. He met with the head of the Dubai police to request that the Pakistani authorities conduct an autopsy on Samia's body. While it was not in their jurisdiction, Dubai Police Chief Major General Khamis Matar al-Mazaina promised Ali that he would contact the Pakistani authorities on his behalf. Ali wrote a formal letter of complaint to the Chief of Police in Lahore. In it, he outlined his suspicions that Samia had been murdered. He then provided the letter to the police chief, Major General Khamis Matar al-Mazaina, who forwarded it to Pakistan. Ali's efforts led to Samia's body being exhumed on August 15, 2016, a month after her death. The official autopsy report concluded that Samia died of asphyxiation and had been murdered. The autopsy found that her body had bruising, indicating she had been beaten, and her injuries were consistent with being strangled. The Pakistani police treated Samia's death as a murder and began an investigation. Samia's father, Muhammad Shahid, and her ex-husband Shakil were arrested. Muhammad Shahid maintained his innocence, claiming that Samia had died of natural causes. Shakil confessed to the police that he had killed Samia, but claimed he had acted alone and that her family was not involved. Both Muhammad and Shakil were found guilty and condemned to spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Ali continued to press for justice for Samia. He campaigned for the British and Pakistani governments to take action against honour-based violence and to protect women from forced marriages and honour killings. Ali's efforts, along with those of other activists and organisations, led to increased awareness of honour-based violence and changes in the law. In 2017, the UK passed the Forced Marriage Act, making it a criminal offence to force someone into marriage. The Pakistani government also introduced legal reforms to address honour-based violence. Samia's story became a powerful symbol in the fight against honour killings and forced marriages. Her legacy continues to inspire those working to protect women and girls from these practices. The campaign for justice and the memory of Samia Shahid serve as a reminder of the importance of individual autonomy, human rights, and the need for cultural and societal change to prevent such tragedies in the future.